Yo, what is up, guys? Yo, rocking it here with the one and only Jay Fuzzy in the house, in the mix. I'm just sending out a positive message out there for everyone. Thank you for watching my videos. For those of you guys who haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. There are more greater videos to come, more interviews, more action, and more journeys to continue on. I also just want to say, there are people out in the world dying from overdoses and suicides every single day, and it's very sad. I'm trying to get my story out. I want people to hear my message so that they can continue on following a path of their own and creating a better life and living a normal lifestyle. So thank you again for watching my videos, guys. Let's get into it. I was at Parramatta Jail for about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks before they classified me to Manus. Then I had to wait for the next truck that was going out to Junee. So I remember going out to Junee, and I was there for a good month before I even reached Manus. And by the time I reached Manus, I'd only had like a couple of months left. So I remember I applied to Manus because my brother was there at that point, and I felt like time would be much easier if I was somewhere where I knew somebody, and I didn't know anybody in any of the New South prisons, so that was when I got paroled to I had to stay in New South Wales. I couldn't get paroled to Canberra. So they said I could get paroled to Canberra, but the paperwork would take so long before the paperwork come back, and by that time I'd probably be time served. So there was no point. So I had to apply for parole in New South. So I went as close as I can to Canberra. So they paroled me to Queanbeyan, and I wasn't able to be released until I had a stable address. So my options were, once I had spoken to a caseworker, they had suggested the caravan park was my only solution, something cheap. And so that was what I did. And once I had parole granted, I was exited from Manus and caught the train straight back. And yeah, things were going well. Look, I got a job as a cook, and I was working at a restaurant, a top restaurant in Queanbeyan, and things were going amazing. Then I remember working there for about 6 months, 7 months, and I breached my parole conditions because I had moved address. I moved places at this point. So I went from a caravan park to a private rental, and they breached me under those conditions. So I wasn't able to reapply again, so they made me They didn't even give me any street time either, which sucked because New South always give you street time, but they made me do the whole 9 months again, which was surprising to me because I thought New South were a lot, lenient compared to Canberra law. So when they breached my parole conditions, they ended up sending me to Goulburn Jail, and that's where I had to spend my 9 months. And I remember going to Goulburn Jail, and I remember I was in remand at Goulburn for about a month before they sent me over to X-Wing, which was a minimum classer, which was a C classer. Once I got over to X-Wing, I got myself a job. I was working, so that was, I had money to buy my own food and stuff, so things were going great. And I remember I met another bloke there who had a partner who was living in Canberra, and I got along with him really well, and meeting him was my biggest mistake, because he was serving a big sentence, and I think it was like almost 10 years, and he was coming close to getting released. And I remember it was around at the time that I had gone back to Queanbeyan again once I got released, and I went back to the same job, which was great because they actually saw potential in me of being a great worker. And the thing with me is that every job that I've put myself in, I actually put in the work and I commit myself to the job. Not even 2 years, it was like 18 months. I remember into this job, and I had met and I bumped into the mate that I met in Goulburn out, and he was living in Canberra, which is funny because he was from Sydney, far up Sydney, so it was crazy to see him in Canberra. So apparently he had told me that he'd moved in with his partner down. So we ended up switching numbers, and that again was another mistake. So after meeting with my mate, and at that point in time, I remember it was probably about a month after I had bumped into him that shit started to fall apart at work. We had a great owner who took over the restaurant, Sean, God bless his soul. I got along with him really well. It was about a month after I had met up with my mate, and I remember at this point things had gone pear-shaped with my partner at the time, and I ended up moving in with good friends, Jade and Brendan, and really good friends, and I couldn't thank them enough for giving me a room for me to stay in at that point, especially to still work at the restaurant. And I remember Sean, who took over the restaurant, was an amazing bloke. Him and his wife, great family. And I had worked with the restaurant for so long. They wanted to keep me on board and work up to a certificate. And it was just sad to find out that he had passed away. things were going so great up until that point. And when his wife didn't want to continue on with the restaurant, probably because I'm pretty sure it was to do with too many memories of it, and she was broken enough as it is, and I totally understand that. But it left a lot of us without work, and because it left a lot of us without work, I was kind of broken at the fact that, we lost a great man. And I felt lost. My relationship had turned sour, and then our boss passes away. Now we're left with no job. So what comes up next is that the place had to be, the owners of the place we were staying at, we had to move out. That kind of led things to an even more darker direction for me. I ended up calling up that mate, and started selling drugs and ended up back on the bandwagon again. So here I am back in the addiction again. I was back into the addiction, and I was deep into the addiction at this point. I was just using way too much. And then I ended up moving back to Canberra, back in with my parents. I remember my parents were even shocked to even see how unhealthy I was looking at this point. And I remember I'd gone back into doing burglaries again. And it was at this point that I had gotten a lot worse. My head wasn't all there. My mental health problem was becoming a problem, an even bigger problem, and I was just using every excuse to use as much as I can just to block a lot of that bullshit. I didn't want to feel any of it. I didn't want to go through any pain or any mental suffering, and I used the easy route out. I decided to use more and more, and I just dug myself in a hole so deep that I couldn't get myself out of it. So here I am at my parents' place. Cops are always rocking up, asking for me and my brother. At this point, I was on the run, and me and my brother had warrants out for our arrest. And I remember it was 2 years after I had It was about 2 years after I had started getting into the addiction, deep into the addiction. I started doing the burglaries. 2 years after that, I remember that the cops came busting into my parents' house, which I feel completely shit for letting that happen. They came busting into the house. I remember trying to give them a fake name. Such an idiot. I tried to use my younger brother's name and they were like, no, you're not. You're James. You're the guy we're looking for. Come on. This was the last time I ever got picked up from the cops. Last time ever. It was in 2010. I remember they got me in for questioning for burglaries that were from 2007, 2008. And you know, I can remember thinking to myself, I'm going to get myself on the rehab card again. You know? So I remember I went to court and I asked for a bail app, and they sent me straight to the Supreme Courts. Here I am thinking that, you know, oh, that's all right, you know, I should get an easy ticket out. Little did I know that going to the Supreme Court was probably the worst option for me. So I'm in remand. They've remanded me in custody for about 3 or 4 months. You know, they got me up to court, and from my other videos, this was when my solicitor was telling me, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. No more than 18 months. Trust me, no more than 18 months. So I remember going up to the courts and the judge slapping me with 10 years. Pleading guilty to all charges would leave me with a 25% discount, reduced to my sentence. That was, man. You know, as angry as I should be about the situation, I can't be angry about the situation. I can only be angry at myself. I got myself in that situation. I can only blame myself for that. So after all that I had been through, you know, going in and out of jail, going through rehabilitation centers after rehabilitation centers, and after all the shit I had been through my entire young adult life up until this point, my mental health, you know, I count it as a blessing in disguise that all that happened for a reason. And if there was anything I took away from all that, is that all that shit has made me a much better man today. Everything that I had experienced in the past, all that dark bullshit that I've gone through, has made me an even stronger man today. It's because of those past experiences that's made me feel like I need to help people that are in the struggles, people that are living homeless, and people that want to change but they can't. They feel like they can't, when really they can. I want to be an example, just like a few friends of mine, you know, and I'm not going to say who, but I respect them greatly for the change that they've had, you know, upon themselves. They did it as a couple, and they fought as a couple. That's an inspiration to me. So in saying that, I want to inspire others to do better with their lives too. So this is why I'm telling my story. I want to get my story out there in hope that I can be a better role model for other people along the way. I want to be able to help give back to the community as much as I possibly can. You know, and by doing that, I just gotta, you know, take it one day at a time. Keep being better. And keep fighting to be a better version of myself. And if I can do it, and they can do it, you can do it too. That's my story.